Okay. Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to make this presentation. My topic is about pilot project of seasonal land fallowing in North China Plan. I will discuss implementation status, events, and challenges of this project. Water is short in China, particularly in the north. From this figure, we can say that per capita water availability in China is only 2,100 cubic meter, much lower than the world average. The world average is near 9,000 cubic meters. It means per capita water availability in China is only about 24% of world average. But in North China, this number is even low, only about 3% of world average. Not only having limited water endowment, supply of water resources has tended to decline in the past several decades. For example, this figure shows the change of surface runoff in 10 large river basins in China. From this figure, we can find that among 10 large river basins, surface runoff in 6 river basins declined in the past 50 years, especially for those river basins located in North China. For example, surface runoff in the Hebei River Basin declined nearly 20% in the past 50 years. At the same time, with the increasing water demand, water competition among centers has become serious. In 1949, the beginning of New China, 97% of water was allocated to agricultural sector. However, with the development of industrialization and urbanization, water had to be reallocated from agricultural centers to non-agricultural centers. Until now, only 61% of water can be allocated to agricultural production. And based on our study and other scholars' study, such a trend will continue in the future. It means agriculture have to face huge challenge of water use. How to ensure water for food security is an important issue in China. Since the increasing water demand and the decline of surface water resources in North China, farmers had to supply groundwater for supporting their agricultural production. This figure shows you how much percentage of total irrigated land area that use groundwater in the past 70 years. From this figure, you can find that in the early 1950s, irrigations almost did not use groundwater. Only 1% of irrigated land use groundwater. But until now, nearly 70% of irrigated land in North China depend on groundwater. It means groundwater is a major water source for agricultural production in North China. However, exploring groundwater has resulted in many environmental problems. One important problem is the decline of groundwater table. Based on our survey in 6 provinces in North China, we found that the share of villages with the decline of groundwater table increased from 64% during 1995 to 2005 to 75% in recent 10 years. It means most villages in North China have the problem of decline of groundwater table. Not only this problem has large ridge coverage, more importantly, the annual rate of decline of groundwater table also accelerated in the past nearly 20 years. In China, according to government definition, if the annual rate of decline of groundwater table larger than 1.5 meter per year, this area belongs to groundwater overdraft area. However, based on our survey, we found that until now, in North China, about 1/3 of our villages belong to groundwater overdraft regions. This is one serious issue. Before nearly 20 years, this number is only 8%. Groundwater overdraft is not only in overall North China, particularly important or most serious in Hebei River Basin in North China Plain. Hebei River Basin locates in the northeast of China. This is one important political, economic, and cultural center of China, such as Beijing is in this region. And in this river basin, the most important province is Hebei province. Hebei province accounts for nearly 70% of the total area of Hebei River Basin. And this region is also important agricultural production region. This region supplies 20% of wheat production and 20% of corn production, and also contributed some production such as cotton and vegetables. And importantly, agricultural production in the Hebei River Basin mainly depends on groundwater irrigation, and more than 70% of irrigation comes from groundwater. Due to highly depending on groundwater irrigation and important agricultural production supply, Hebei River Basin accounts for 60% of groundwater overdraft area in China. This is the most serious groundwater overdraft region in China. In order to deal with the groundwater overdraft issues, in 2014, China's central government launched the pilot project of comprehensive control of groundwater overdraft in North China Plain. The objective of this project is to control and reduce the amount of groundwater extraction by various measures. Since groundwater overdraft is the most serious in Hebei province, then the Hebei was selected the first pilot region to implement this project. And after this, in 2017, this project has been further expanded to other 3 provinces, including Shandong, Shanxi, and Henan provinces. And this year, the central government plans to further to expand this project to other 13 provinces. It implies how to control groundwater overdraft has become more important in recent years in China. For the project in Hebei province, its target is to control groundwater overdraft. And based on the government plan, we found that the rural area is very important for realizing these objectives, because 70% of our target for controlling ground overdraft had to be realized in rural area. And the urban area also contributed 30% of our target realization. And in rural area, several different measures have been implemented. And among them, one non-important measure is the seasonal-led fallowing project. This project is to change the cropping system of winter wheat and some corn from 2 crops a year to 1 crops, only some crop a year. It means they do not allow farmers to plant winter wheat a year, only keeping the same crop. Now let's look at how the implementation area change of this project. This figure shows you the seasonal land fallowing area from 2014 to 2019. From this figure, we can find that since 2016, the area had been kept constant and higher than the previous 2 years. And the seasonal-led fallowing project is very important. It is one new measure for resolving water shortage problem in China. And also, it will become more important in the future because also it has a very good theoretical foundation in recent several years. The first important theoretical foundation is the argument for the real water saving. Traditionally, the purpose of the water saving is to reduce the non-beneficial consumption of water use and non-recoverable fraction of water use. Such measures can be called the first level of water saving measures. Because water use can be classified into 2 classifications, consumed fraction and non-consumed fraction. Under these 2 kinds of classification, and the water saving technologies and other measures such as water price and even water rights measures, their purpose is to reduce these 2 parts, non-beneficial and non-recoverable. However, in some regions, such as in North China Plain, we found that the traditional measures cannot resolve our problem. Water shortage is still very serious. Then many people began to consider if we can resolve problem based on our traditional measures. Then many scholars began to consider maybe not only considering non-beneficial consumption part and non-recoverable fraction part. We also need to consider how to reduce beneficial consumption. If beneficial consumption do not change, it is really hard to balance water supply and water demand, because water demand is always there. This is an important foundation for implementing the fallowing project, because the purpose of the fallowing project is to reduce beneficial consumption of winter wheat, reduce winter wheat crop area, then to resolve the real water saving problem. The beneficial consumption reduction can be called as the second level of water saving. The second theoretical foundation of this project mainly comes from some economic theories. Based on economic theories, farmers' purpose is to maximize economic benefit from agricultural production. But their production activity and their purpose do not consider its potential negative environmental cost, such as groundwater overdraft issues and related rules of ecosystem services. Under such conditions, government had to take some measures to provide farmers some subsidies to encourage them to adopt some measures to resolve the problems. For example, for this project, signal-led fallowing project, the government measures is to encourage farmers to participate in this project, do not plant winter wheat. But if they do not plant winter wheat, they will lose some money. At least government should give some subsidy to offset their lost money. Not only this part of compensation, the government also should consider how to compensate the loss of economic services. To give this compensation to farmers, then farmers have the sustainable incentive to adopt these measures. Such subsidy can be called as payment for ecosystem services. This is one hot topic theory and empirical issues recently studied by many scholars. And also this theory and the empirical study also can support this project. Since the Hebei is the first pilot region to implement groundwater overdraft controlling issues, if government would like to implement this project to other regions, it is important to understanding how the implementation status and the effects and the challenges in Hebei province. Accumulated some experience and lessons from Hebei then can give very good scientific supporting for further expanding in other regions. This is reason in the following I will check these issues in Hebei province. Now let's look at the expansion trend of this signal-led fallowing project in Hebei province. From this number, we can find the pilot counties increased since 2014, from more than 30 counties to near 50, and even some near 60 counties. And importantly, after 2016, the pilot area kept about 133,000 hectares. And in the future, it looks like they will come to this pilot area. And the government will invest in 1 billion yuan per year to support the implementation of this project. And according to government plan, this project is expanded to save water about 2,700 cubic meters per hectare on average. And after 2015, the annual total water saving is stable at 360 million cubic meters in Hebei province. And in Hebei, even this project has carried many counties and many provinces, but it mainly concentrated on 4 prefectures: Changzhou, Henshui, Xingtai, and Handan. And these 4 prefectures and also the beginning implementation sites of this project. These 2 figures show you how much percentage of this project counties in 4 prefectures and how much percentage of project area in these 4 prefectures. From these 2 figures, you can find that these 4 prefectures, either from county or from pilot area, it occupied more than 80 or 90%. So this is the major regions of implementing of this pilot project. Then in order to have better understanding on the implementation in the field, Since these 4 provinces are major pilot regions, then we have organized field survey in these 4 provinces in Hebei province. Last year, we have organized one large field survey in these 4 provinces, and our survey covered 560 households in 28 villages in 7 counties in these 4 prefectures. And in our samples, either village sample or household sample, generally half of them are participant samples, half of them non-participant sample. So we have 2 kinds of sample. It is easy to compare the percent effects. Based on the survey, we have collected both household level data and village level data. Household level data include several issues, such as the basic characteristics of household, characteristics of cultivated land, and the farmers' willingness to participate in this project and their preferences for the policy design. And we also collected some other farm information. And in village level survey, we also collected the information of cultivated land population and other basic information and some participation information and relevant issues. This is our first-hand data set. Now first look at how about the implementation and how large area in Hebei are implementing this project. We already changed this issue from the total area. But if we change the issue from relative term, from the sale of project area over cultivated land area of the sale of pilot project area over soil area winter weight, we found that in Hebei, in fact, the relatively implementation area is not so large. For example, even in 2017, only 1.3% of pilot project of cultivated land area implemented this project. And even for winter weight soil area, its implementation area is only 1.56%. Of course, these 2 numbers is some large in 4 pilot prefecture, but still less than 10%. This implies in Hebei still have much space to further extend this project in the future. The second issue for implementation status is to check what kind of participants in this project. Because in China, most farmers are small farmers. Then we would like to know if in most regions, small farmers are major participants. Based on our survey, it is not true. In some provinces, such as Xintai, the major participants are large farmers or some farmers cooperative. It occupied 76% of pilot area. And in Changzhou, the small farmers pilot area and large farmers almost half and half. And in Henshui and Xintai, the most farmers participants are small farmers. It means the participants really differ by regions. But according to government plan, their planning is to encourage large farmers to attend this project, more large farmers to participate. Because I think this is more easy to manage and it is also beneficial to save water. And if so, we need to consider in this region how to encourage large farmers to participate. This is the second issue. And the third issue for implementation is to understand what kind of land participated in this project. because generally high quality land productivity is high and also require high water inputs. Then we would like to know if the lower quality land or higher quality land has a priority to be chosen in the project. According to our survey, we found that 79% of cultivated land belong to first or second class land quality. If the land belong to first or second class land, it means its land quality is good. But if we check this number in pilot area, we found that this number is some small, is 65%, some lower than the overall average number, 79%. This indicates that in some regions, lower quality land has a priority to be chosen in the project. So the consequence possibly is that the less water will be saved. Is less than the government expectation. This is the third issue. I already checked the implementation status from different aspects. Now let's look at how about the effect of this project in Hebei province. For the effects, I will mainly focus on two kinds of issues. The first issue is the policy target efficiency. According to local government, they have 4 principles to selecting pilot region. The first principle is this region should belong to groundwater overdraft area. The second principle is this area's irrigation mainly depend on groundwater. The third principle is that hope the land area should be large, should be linked together at least 50 more. And the last principle is that the government requires this land should plant winter wheat before participating in this project. Now let's look at the implementation status of this 4 principles, if it can satisfy this principle. For the first principle, this region should belong to groundwater overdraft region. It is easy to be satisfied because in Hebei province, 90% of play area belong to groundwater overdraft region. So most region belong to this region, so it is also easy to select such a site. From our sample, such as the township sample, you can find these regions either belong to serious groundwater overdraft issue or general overdraft regions. So the first principle can be satisfied easily. Then let's look at the other 3 principles satisfaction. For the second principle, this region mainly depends on groundwater. Yeah, it's true. We can find more than 75% or 77% for both non-participants and participant villages. Their irrigation area depending on groundwater. For the second principle, they hope it is a large area to participate in this project together. And also we find that more than 93% or 93% of participant villages can satisfy this principle. For last principle, they require this region should plant winter wheat because the purpose of this project is to reduce winter wheat soil area. And we find that in our sample, this number is more than 70%. It means most plot area also satisfy this principle. Anyway, we think the target efficiency is high. Most implementation area meet the requirements of this project. The second effect of this project is about how much water can be saved or reduced through implementing of this project. In order to check this issue, let's first look at the government data at provincial level. This is the Hebei's total agricultural water use from 2010 to 2019. From this figure, you can find the overall trend of agriculture water use is to decline, and especially after 2014. Since 2015, the decline of total agriculture water use is more obviously. Although we know many factors influence agriculture water use, but we still can guess that this project signals that the fallowing project should make some contribution to the decline of agricultural water use in Hebei province. Not only the total agricultural water use, we can also check the issue from the agricultural water use per hectare. And from this indicator, water use per hectare, we also find from 2010 to 2019, the overall trend is to decline. You can find in 2015, agricultural water use per hectare was more than 3,000 cubic meter, and this number declined to less than 2,600 cubic meters. And we also check if the decline of agricultural water use per hectare is closely related with the precipitation. This figure shows the change of annual precipitation in Hebei province. You can find it is not closely related. And even in some years, precipitation is low and the water use still is lower than the past several years. So from this figure, the further indicate that, possibly this project should make some contribution on reducing agricultural water use. This conclusion comes from the macro level data from government statistics. Not only from government statistical data, we also collected the household data on their water use. This number shows the agricultural water use per household by the per-gent participated household and the non-per-gent participated household. We can say that for the per-gent household, if we compare the agricultural water use per household between 2017 and 2019, the change trend is to decrease the total water use per household, about 388 cubic meter. And if we compare the agricultural water use per household for non-per-gent household, we find the trend is increase. What means all this? What is the real impact of this project? In fact, we can adopt econometric methods to conduct this further analysis. We are still doing this, but still we can use a similar idea to estimate how much water can be reduced through implementing this project. We can assume the per-gent household, if not participating in this project, they also will increase water use by 210 cubic meter, look like the non-per-gent household. And since they already participated in this project, they can reduce the water use per household 388. If we plus these two numbers, it means this project has the potential to save about 598 cubic meter per household. And in our sample site, each household plant about 4.9 mu of area. Then we can estimate the total agricultural water saved per mu of this project region can be 122 cubic meters. And this number is somewhat lower than the government policy target. Government policy target is 140 to 160 cubic meter. Of course, as I mentioned, we still need to use econometric method to quantify this number, and the overall trend should be same. And another issue we would like to know either from the macro level or from the household data. We are sure that this project can play some role of reducing agricultural water use. What are the reasons for reducing agricultural water use? In fact, this is obvious because they don't let farmers to plant winter wheat. It is due to the reduction of winter wheat crop soil area or change of cropping pattern. This figure shows you the change of cropping pattern for both per-gent household and non-per-gent household. For per-gent household, you can find in 2014, 36% of soil area allocated to winter wheat. But since then, after implementing this project, in the last year, 2019, only 13% of soil area planted winter wheat. Reduction of winter wheat area is obvious. At the same time, cow area increased and even some cotton area and other crop area increased. If we comparing water use among these several crops, of course, winter wheat require more water than cow or cotton. But for no per-gent household, we can find the cropping patterns almost have not changed over the several years. So it is obvious it is due to the change of cropping pattern due to reduction of winter wheat. The agricultural water use have been reduced in Hebei province. Now we already checked the implementation status and the events of this project in Hebei province. We also would like to understand what kind of problem and the challenges for implementing of this project in Hebei. And the first challenge, we think it is about how much large area in the village can enroll in this project. Why we would like to check this issue? Of course, we think it should have better scientific studying, but from our feeling and our experience, we guess if only small part of the village land area participated in this project, maybe it is not beneficial to save water. We guess it look like in one village, if some farmers reduce water use, and the other farmers near to these farmers use water, maybe they will use more water. This is our guess. Of course, we need to have further study. Also need to work with hydrogeological scientists to understand this issue. And anyway, according to the government, in fact, the government, the original thinking is they think if one village participated in this project, they also hope all villages' land can enroll in this project. Enroll all their land in this project. But in fact, this is very hard. Among our 14 villages, we only find only two villages can enroll all their land in this project. And most villages only enroll the part of their land into this project. Anyway, we think the good news is even only part of land enrolled this village, enrolled in this project, we found that nearly half of the villages enrolled more than 50% of their land. From here you can find after the from this village, they half our land enrolled in this project, and some other villages that will enroll more than 50, even near 70%. It's good news. Even not all land, but still more than half of the land participated into this project. And if we further check this issue from household side, we also find the similar trend. Only part of household can enroll all their land in this project, and based on our field survey data, we found that 39% of household enrolled all their land. And also the other 31% of household enrolled nearly 30% of their land. So in the future, if we should encourage household to enroll all their land into this project. This is one of issue need to be studied and one of issue facing with policy makers. Another issue we considering how to select household to participate to this project, because we know that the one of important principle for selecting pilot area is to require the household to plant winter wheat before participating in this project. But we already know that not all farmers like this. Overall, is only 71% of household planted winter wheat. It means still have some other farmers already fallowed their land spontaneously before participating in this project. And this number even higher in the early of this project. For example, during 2014 to 2015, 41% of households already followed their land spontaneously before participating in this project. And for these farmers, it means they do not longer follow spontaneously because they get subsidies. This would be a counterproductive effect of the subsidy. Why we think this is a counterproductive effect of the subsidy? Then let's further check this issue. Because we also collect information to ask farmers, how about their willingness to participate in this project for both participant and non-participant farmers? We find that even for non-participant farmers, still have 34% of farmers would like to participate in this project. However, they have no this opportunity to participate in this project. If we link with the last slide, we can guess if a government do not give subsidy to those farmers, they already followed their land spontaneously and reallocate their subsidy to these farmers. Maybe the total pilot area, total project area can be increased. Our total land fallowing area can be increased. This is the reason why we would like to check this issue. We think maybe this is some ineffective for allocating budget. And another issue that we think really need to consider about the project impacts of farmers' labor reallocation after participating in this project. Because this issue is highly related with how about the sustainability of this project. It is easy to be understood. If we do not let farmers to plant winter wheat, how about their labor do not need to plant winter wheat? How to allocate it? If farmers cannot find some good opportunity to earn money, possibly if government subsidy is stopped, farmers will return to winter weight. And our survey data also supporting this consideration. And our data find that after participating in this project, 78% of farmers did not change their labor allocation. Possibly this is some confusing. Why do not change their labor allocation? This number means that most farmers will reallocate their previous labor inputs in the project plots to other plots that did not enroll in the project. Because most farmers only enroll the part of their land into the project. It means in some other plots that previously they do not need so much labor input. Now they have some extra labor input, then they put into that there. So this is the reason we can find that most farmers did not change their labor. But we don't think it is good news because maybe it is too much labor input in that plot. What we hopefully that the farmer can get some opportunity, some off-farm opportunity to earn more money. But we found that only 10% of farmers can increase off-farm time after participating in this project. And if they can get off-farm employment opportunity, it means even government do not give farmers subsidy for fallowing land for winter wheat. They may be still fallowing their land because they have other opportunity to earn more money. Otherwise, possibly this project cannot be sustainable because the government purpose is to not give farmers subsidy in the very longer term. The final issue that we should consider the how much compensation or how much subsidy should be provided to farmers. This is also important issues. Of course, presently the subsidy level is 7,500 yuan per hectare. This is based on government experience. But many people also argue whether this subsidy standard is suitable. And we ask farmers, if this subsidy level declined from 7,500 yuan per hectare to 6,000 yuan per hectare, we can find that the most farmers reported that they do not participate in this project. It means farmers are very sensitive to this subsidy standard. And more importantly, in order to reduce transaction cost, government only have the similar subsidy level, the 7,500 yuan per hectare. But we know that the opportunity cost of farmers are different. Some farmers' opportunity costs are higher than this level, some are low. One more efficient measures to use the project money is to derive some different level of subsidy standard according to farmers' opportunity cost. Of course, it is also complex issue. The government also considering this issue in the future. Anyway, until now, I already discussed the implementation status, effects, and some challenges fitting with this project, either from the challenges, its effects, or sustainability. We also would like to give some policy suggestions to further improve the policy to be implemented in large areas. The first policy suggestion is to encourage farmers, villages, or some local counties to participate in this project in the longer term, because we found that some counties will stop the participation. Because the longer term participation can improve the stability and also improve the long term effect. The second policy suggestion is to strengthen the identification and the supervision of farmers' eligibility to participate. In order to exclude farmers with spontaneous land fallowing from participation in this project, the purpose of this project is to use money well and to have more land to implement the reduction of the winter weight that can benefit the total water saving target. The third suggestion is relevant with our farm employment opportunity. How to increase farmers' off-farm employment opportunity. The important issue is to provide some off-farm employment information and provide some training services. And even can consider to develop some manufacturing industry and feature agriculture in the local regions to give farmers more opportunity to earn money, some more opportunity to earn money to support them continuing their changed production activity to reduce the plant area of winter weight. The last suggestion is to set reasonable compensation standards and establish a dynamic adjustment mechanism of compensation standards according to the factors influencing the opportunity cost of farmers, such as winter weight price and land quality. Yeah, it's all my presentation. Thank you. This is my email. If you have questions would like to discuss with me, you can contact with me. Okay.